Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations, and I'm back again. I did a tutorial earlier today, and I'm going to do another one tonight, so I hope I can get it posted tonight, but we'll see, maybe tomorrow. But what I wanted to do was share with you another idea I had for the explosion boxes, and I'm kind of going crazy with these ideas, and I've got a whole bunch of ideas. I want to try and get these tutorials done. I've got just so many ideas to share that I just want to get it done. I'm using this explosion board that I found from We Are Memory Keepers, and I started making these things and coming up with some different ideas, and I just wanted to share this idea with you tonight. So I do have 2 other tutorials that I have already done, basically a how-to on how to use this board and some different things that you can do with it. And then I did this morning, I posted a full start to finish, the whole meal, full meal deal explosion box, and so that will take you through how to do 7 different you know, boxes with this board, and then it also went through the decorating and how to do that. So on this tutorial here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share with you what I did, and then we're going to go through some basic steps. I'm not going to do it from start to finish and do all the papering and stuff, but you're going to get the total idea on how I put this together. It's really super easy. So let's get started. This one here is made with some paper called Remember the Magic that I actually purchased from Country Craft Creations, and it looks like, you know, the usual explosion box. So I use the extra large box on the outside, and, or excuse me, the extra large box on the outside and the extra large lid. So it measures, you know, like 4 by 4 by 4. The lid's a little bit bigger, obviously. On the outside, I made this little ribbon flower with some ribbons that I had in my stash from my Disney collection that I have. And I also had this rhinestone Mickey head that I put on here. And then this is a sticker from the collection that I popped up with pop dots. And then one of the die cut pieces that I had purchased with some of the enamel dots. So it's a real simple decoration on the top. When you open it up, it explodes out. I did 1 layer of the explosion box, so I did the extra large layer, and I did these as photo mats. And then what I did a little bit different with the hearts on the sides is that I used the medium heart instead of the extra large heart, just because I wanted to see what would happen. So basically that's what I did. So instead of using the extra large heart that went with it, I used the medium one. So I basically did the same thing. We're going to go through this as far as tracing it out and doing the pattern paper for it. So I'll go through that with you. And then what I wanted to do on the inside is I wanted to have a squash book. So I created a squash book, and then how to keep it in its place. So I figured out which lid would actually fit in the bottom of this box and help hold this book up and keep it secure. So this is a really cute little quick project, and we'll go through how to make it. It's really super simple. I decorated the outside of that box, if you can see, with some chipboard pieces that I had, so they're all the way around. I hope you can see that. It's hard to tell from where I'm sitting what you guys are seeing, but I did that. So chipboard pieces all the way around. And then on the inside, I used a 4 by 4 cut apart that I kind of cut down to fit. And then what I did was I made this squash book, and to keep it closed, I created this belly band. And again, I decorated it, and I decorated it on the top too, because that's what you're going to see when you first open the box. So I decorated the top of the belly band and the front of the belly band. And then I made the squash book. And so this is the large size squash book. And I made a chipboard cover, and then I made 3 of the panels and attached them together and then just covered that. So it's a really simple little project, and it opens up this way too. It's a really simple project to make, but I'll show you how to do it, and let's get started. So we're going to start with the, let me get this out of the way. We're going to start with the outer box itself, and it's a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, and then you just get your board out and score it and obviously I've already cut it, but you score it on the extra, extra large because it is the extra, extra large box. You know, score it on all four sides. And then what I did was I took the medium heart shape and my pencil and went through all the corners, and I lined up the point to where the scores connect, and then lined up the score to the this point here of the heart, and then drew my shape around. And then we're going to cut that out. So the easiest way to cut these hearts out that I have found so far is to cut up the score to where that heart connects to that score line, and cut this score to that point in the middle of the heart there at the top, and then cut this score line again down to where the heart attaches there to the score. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut that out. So if you watched my other two videos, you've seen this already. If you haven't, then, oh, I can't get my hand. There we go. If you are really good with a straight edge, you know, craft knife, you could put this down and trace around there, you know, with the craft knife. Or you can use these scissors. And these scissors are just kind of a little big and heavy, but it works out pretty good. So then I'm just cutting the heart shape out. I'm using artisan cardstock. This is the red artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations. And for the photo mats in this particular one, I am going to use black. And I'm just going to go through my stash of scraps on the black and use those pieces, because you don't need too many. But there you have it. So this is the extra, extra large box, 12 by 12 piece of paper. We've cut out all the corners, and then I'm also going to, because I felt like it, round the corners to the pages. So I already did that one. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to fold and burnish all of our score lines. So I'm just going to simply fold those up and do this all the way around to create the box. So this is a kind of an enclosed squash album within one, you know, leaf of an explosion box. So once you do that, to fold the hearts, just hold the heart down on one side and then gently fold it back, and it will fold up into a corner piece, and then just use your scoring tool and then score around that heart, okay? And then that will create the piece that you need to have going towards the inside of the box. So super simple. Okay, let's do the fourth one. Now this is where you're going to want to get your pattern paper out, and I am not going to do that for this example. I'm going to do that later because I kind of want to get this tutorial done. So you're going to want to cover the outside of your explosion box, and I did do that. So you can see here, that's how I did it. That's the outside. So I totally covered everything. Then once you do that, then you're going to want to cover a few things on the inside. So what I did was I grabbed my scraps of, oh, I didn't punch this one. Let's punch this one. So you're going to grab your black card, or your coordinating cardstock, I should say. You could use something else besides black. So those pieces are going to go right in there. And the panels for this box are 4 by 4, so I cut those at 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. So those are going to go there. And then you're also going to want to cut pieces to mat your hearts. So what you do there is, since we use the medium template for the hearts, we're going to use the small template for the pattern paper for the hearts. So I took a strip, and this strip was 2 3/4 inch wide, and then I just laid my hearts down on top and traced around the heart, and then simply just cut it out, okay? And then after, I'm going to finish the rest of them later, but after I did that, erase your pencil marks, and then what you're going to want to do is grab your cutting tool of choice, and I'm going to line up the point here and the point here in where my blade's going to go, and then just simply slice it in half. This is going to give you the perfect piece to mat your hearts, okay? Just like that. So I'm going to, I'll glue down one of these mats and one of the hearts just so you can get an idea of what that's going to look like. And then in this particular project, because I used, I don't know, I felt like I used the box that I used to put in the inside, I'm going to put a piece of cards, or excuse me, pattern paper in the middle, which I don't do when I make the explosion boxes. If you've seen the other tutorials, I don't do that because the boxes are going to sit on top and you're not going to see a whole lot, and there's so many leaves. But where is my, there it is. But because of the nature of this project, I went ahead and did it. So I am going to put pattern paper down. It's going to peak just a little bit, but not a whole lot. But it will be enough to where you're going to be able to see a little bit. So I'm going to do that. Okay. So every one of the 4 panels are going to get a photo mat. And then I'm going to put my little heart that I cut out. And it's going to perfectly mat that. I didn't ink these papers because I didn't really think it was necessary. These papers aren't, you know, grungy or dark or, you know, vintagey or anything like that. So I didn't really feel the need to ink the edges, but you definitely could, of course, you know, depending on which papers you choose. So again, all of this is from Country Craft Creations. I missed a pencil mark. There we go. So you can see how that's going to look. So every part will be covered and every panel here will be covered. And then in the middle, I'm just going to simply put this piece here. So let's glue that down. All right. So I love it when you have tools that you can use and then you can come up with different things to do with them and different ideas. Explosion boxes have been around forever. They're not new, but we're going to do a lot of things with it. So that part is done. So the lids, I'm going to do the extra, extra large lid to hold, you know, this whole thing together, which is right here. I'm not going to go ahead and do that on camera, but you are going to need a piece that will be for your extra, extra large lid. It'll be 6.5 by 6.5. So that is going to go around this whole thing. So once this is done, then your extra, extra large lid will go like that and keep it closed. Okay, so that is what this piece is for. It's 6.5 by 6.5. And then, you know, you put it in your scoreboard and it'll tell you exactly what, boy, I'm making a mess. It'll tell you exactly how to cut it. Down here, we're going to make a large lid that is going to be the lid that fits in here in the inside that holds the book. So we're going to get a piece of paper that's 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. And you're going to put it in your scoreboard, and all of the lids are the same. You just do the size that you need, and then all of them get scored as a lid. And the lid score mark is right here. They're all the same. So you score around all 4 sides. Okay. This is exactly how you're going to make your other lid too. Now, you're going to cut up the score. We're going to do it pinwheel fashion. And we're going to make a tab. So you cut up the score and then you cut out a little corner on each side to make a tab, and then you turn it and do the same thing. So pinwheel fashion. Every side will have a little bit of extra reinforcement in the one corner. And then you will want to cover this with pattern paper, and I'm going to do it after the fact, but it is totally a lot easier to do it before you create the box, but it can be done. So at this point, after you cut your tabs, so for this lid, because this is the one that's going inside the box, you will not have to put pattern paper on the bottom because that's going to be glued down. So you're going to want, but the sides will be up, so you will want to put pattern paper on the outsides, okay? And then you're going to want to put pattern paper on the inside here first, then create your box, okay? And then we're going to finish the insides, okay? But again, like I said, I am not going to do this on camera. I did do it in my other video. So if you want to see the lid put together completely start to finish, please go to my other video and check it out, okay? But again, for this, I'm going to just put it together and then I'm going to paper it later, and it is going to be harder, but it can be done. It can be done. All right. So all of the lids, also because they're scored on the same line, they are 1 1/8 inches deep, which is nice because for matting them with the pattern paper, you only need 1-inch strips. And I don't know about you, but I tend to get a lot of 1-inch strips with my you know, scraps and stuff when I'm done, you know, cutting other things for my projects. So it actually does kind of use up some of the scraps too, which is nice. So I don't feel like I'm wasting a whole lot. All right, so make the lid. And I do still need to choose the cut apart, 4x4 cut apart that I'm going to put on the inside here. So when you take the album out, you're going to see a really cute cut apart, but I don't know which one I'm going to pick yet. You could also use a 4x6 cut apart and cut that down as well. You can just use straight pattern paper as well. I'm going to cut that, square that up a little bit because it's sticking out just a wee bit. Okay, so there's your box. So then once you get your box lid made, this is the one that's going to go on the inside here. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue that down. So this is why we don't have to put pattern paper on the bottom of this lid. We're just going to put pattern paper on the inside of it. I'm just going to line that up, center it. I'm going to eyeball it here, right in the middle there. Press that down. Get my little scraper tool here. Okay. Now again, you're going to want to put pattern paper on that first before you do that. It is a lot easier, okay? But for purposes of the tutorial, I'm not going to do that. So there is the box that will fold up, and this is what is going to contain your squash book, okay? And this is the lid for my other box, but there you go. So you can see how that's going to look. And so let's get rid of that for a second, and then let's talk about our book. So I did get a couple pieces of papers ready. So for the pages of the book, you're going to need 3 pieces that are, and I'm going to double check it just so I don't tell you wrong, 6 5/8 by 6 5/8. These are the squash book pages. Let me show you how to score those. So with your explosion board tool, you can make your squash book pages. So what we're going to do, put these off to the side because I'm making a huge mess. You're going to put your album in your board, or your, excuse me, your page in the board, and we are making the squash page for a large, well, the large size, I guess. I don't know how else to say it. So it is 6 5/8 by 6 5/8. So basically you're going to measure from here to the large and multiply it by 2, and that's how you get that particular measurement. I did have, I want to say, let me see here. So if you're going to do squash cards, right here. So for an extra large squash card, you're going to need an 8 by 8 piece of paper. For an extra large squash card, you're going to need a 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. For a large, you will need a 6 5/8 by 6 5/8. That's the one we're making. The medium is a 6 by 6. The small is a 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. extra small is 4 5/8 by 4 5/8, and the extra extra small is 4 by 4. Okay, so those will make the squash cards. Those are the measurements you need. So then once you get the measurements here, you're going to put it in your board for the large, and we're going to score on the large. We're going to turn it and score it again on the large. And then what I like to do a lot, you don't necessarily have to, but a lot of times what I'll do is I'll turn it over, because the scoring is going to go opposite at the diagonal. So I'm going to score down to where the scores meet, and then I'm going to turn it again and score down where the scores meet. You're going to do that on all 3 pages. So then you're going to fold your pages. Okay, so you fold the same way on the straight lines, I should say, not the diagonal ones, and then turn it over, and the diagonal folds the opposite direction. Okay, so that's why sometimes, or a lot of times, I like to do the scoring on the opposite so that it's actually scored properly. And then this will fold up and squash down. And then I take my bone folder and make sure that it is nice and scored. We're going to do that for all 3 pages. All right, so let's just do that super quick. And turn it over. There we go. Make sure your points are lined up nice. Okay, and then squash it down. Make sure that it's nice. Okay, one more. One more. I think, if I remember correctly, this was one of the very first types of albums I ever made. These have been around for a long time. These are not new. The board is new. The board makes it a lot easier and a lot more fun, because you don't have to worry about all the measuring, that's for sure. But okay, there you go. So we have our pages. Get that folded in. There we go. Get my fingers to work. I'm tired. I've been working on tutorials all day. There we go. I should have done housework, but I didn't. Anyway, okay, so now you have your 3 pages. Now, to hook these together, you want to have 2 of them on the ends facing one direction, and then you want the other one going the opposite direction. And what they're going to do is they're going to connect at those squares. Okay, so have 2 of them kind of facing up, and this one's pointed down, so you can see that. And then we're going to just put glue on the square here, if my glue will come out. There we go. And then we're going to use this one. We're going to glue right here, and I'm just lining it up to the scores, not in the scores, and then just gluing that down. You know, don't get it in the scores, or else it's not going to fold properly. All right, so we have that. So we have, this one was pointing up, this one is pointing down, this one is pointing up, so this is going to glue right in there like that. So you're going to end up with a piece like that. Okay. Put my glue on here. I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to turn it this way just so I can see it better. Not in the scores, just right up against the score, like that. Okay, turn that over. Okay, so there you have our squash book. So then when you fold it, and after a couple times it'll go every single time, but you just kind of squish it all together and it will form your book. Okay, then you can kind of take and, you know, squish it down a little bit. It's still going to be kind of springy, and that's kind of the nature of the book. But when you open it up, then it will open up to a really nice, cool little mini album. Okay, so let's put that aside for just a second. What I did with the covers, because on the one that I made here, I made chipboard covers, so it was nice and sturdy. So I just took a piece of chipboard that was 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and I covered it with some artisan cardstock, just like you would cover with any other album that you make. Okay, so you will need 2 of those for your front and back covers. And then you're going to need your pattern paper that will cover the inside of your album, because as you can see, I did make the covers a little bit bigger than the actual album itself. So it's going to stick out, you're going to see it. All right, so we're going to do that. And so I'm going to just glue that down on both pieces. So the chipboard again was 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and then I used, I got that a little off. I used a piece of artisan cardstock that was 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 to cover it. Okay, then this pattern paper is 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. All right, so we'll get the second one done. Line that up. Okay. All right, so we have our covers. So these will be the outsides of the covers. These are going to be the insides. So then you're going to want to look at your book here, because how this is going to work is this cover is going to attach here. This cover is going to attach here. When it opens up, this is what you're going to get. So you will need to do pattern paper on everything except for these 2 back end pieces that will attach. So you don't want to put pattern paper or anything on here, and you don't want to put any pattern paper or anything on here. Okay, so what I did in my book was for the big solid squares, I put photo mats. So the photo mats measured 3 1/8 by 3 1/8, and you will need 6 of them. You will need, open up, you will need 4 for this side, and then when you turn it over, you will need 2 for that side. So you will need 6 pieces of coordinating cardstock for photo mats that are 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. Then you're going to need, and what I did was, let's see, did I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares? So, and then I alternated them, so the same pattern, just alternated. So to cover the triangles, you are going to need 6 pieces of pattern paper that are 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 square. And then you'll cut right on the diagonal, and that's going to give you your triangles to cover these pieces that fold up. All right, so on this one I did a little bit different because I was running out of paper, so I just, you know, however you're gonna do it, I just alternated them. You don't have to alternate them, but that's what you're gonna do. I hope that makes sense. Again, I did this in my other video as well, as far as showing how to do the triangles. So you will need to cover all the triangles. You'll need to cover 4 of the squares on one side and 2 on the other side. And then just to make the album, then you just simply fold it up. And I opened it so that, or I set it up so that it opens like this. So you just are going to grab your book and put some glue on this panel that we're not covering with pattern paper. Cover everything with pattern paper first. It's going to be a lot easier to do it before you put the covers on. So yeah. I'm going to have a little bit of a difficult time doing this, but I wanted to show you how to do this. So then I'm going to just lay that down. I'm going to center it and squish it down. And then I'm going to open it up and then kind of burnish it under there a little bit. Make sure that it's glued down. And then I'm going to squish it and kind of go around, make sure I didn't get any seepage of glue so that it doesn't glue anything I didn't want. So there's that part. So you've got the front cover on. Now we're just going to simply do it with the other cover. So the easiest way to do that is put the glue on. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to press it together and then push it down on my table, and then that will center it up, okay? And then squish it down. And then I'm going to open it up, burnish it, check for glue, that whole thing. All right, so if you do decide to put this on first, it can be covered. I mean, you can still do it because you could fold this thing down and cover these triangles, and then you could fold it. So it can be done. It's going to be a little bit more wonky, but definitely put your pages together first before you put pattern paper on. And then I would suggest that you put the pattern paper on before you put your covers on, but you know, for demonstration purposes, that's how you're going to do it. So this is going to open up like that. All right, so there's our book. And then we are going to need the belly band to keep it closed. So this is super simple. You will need your regular scoreboard for this. So what I did was I grabbed a piece of cardstock that was left over, and it is 10 3/4 by 2, and you're going to score it on the 10 3/4 side at 1, at 4 7/8, at 5 7/8, and 9 3/4. All right, so again, on the 10 3/4 inch side, you're going to score it 1. So 1, 4 7/8, 5 7/8, and 9 3/4. Okay, and then put that guy away, and we're going to fold and burnish all of our scores. And you guys know how belly band gets attached, so what we're going to do is I'm going to make a tab here, and then I'm going to glue this to that. All right, so make sure I'm going to line this up, I'm going to push that down, and then we're going to hook that together. You can definitely do this before you put the pattern paper on. That's okay, because you can fold it you know, to put the pattern paper on, so that's pretty easy. Put your glue on, now fold that over, all right, and glue it down. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's our belly band. And then our belly band will just, you know, after you decorate it and everything, that'll simply just go around the book. And then that's going to, you want the part that's not attached at the top, and then that is going to sit in here. It's going to keep your book closed. You will be able to decorate it at the top, so when you open the book, you're going to see some decoration on it, and there you have it. So there, that is basically how I put it together. It's really super simple. You can make this page, this book really, you know, has some give to it. You can put more pages if you want. You can do 5 pages. Usually odd number pages is the best thing to do with these things. So either do 3, 5, 7, however many you want to do it, but just do odd number pages. That's usually the best thing to do. You may have to make the belly band a little bit bigger if you do that, because you want to make sure you have room for all the pattern paper, all the cardstock that you're going to put in there for photo mats, and then for your photos as well. All right, so this is my quick and dirty tutorial on how I made my squash book explosion album. So here's the one that I finished, and again, this is the book, and it opens up like that. Has room for 6 photos on this in this book, and then you have 4 places here that you can put photos. So you can have 10 photos. This is just a cute little fun project. If you did this for, you know, a birthday or something like that, you could use it as kind of a card / photo album, so it'd be a really cute gift. You could put a photo in the top of the lid as well if you wanted to. So there's room to do things, and then you could put like little candies in here or something like that. So this is a cute little gift box, cute little memory box, and it's fun to make. So there you go. There is my project. So I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you have any other, like you want to see some things more in detail, go ahead and go to my previous video, and it's the Camp Happy Bear explosion box tutorial, and I go through everything from start to finish, how to make the lids, how to cut the pages, how to mat the pages, all that stuff. But basically, there's only a few pieces that you need to do. So you need to make an extra large lid, an extra large box. We use the medium heart to trace the cardstock, and then we use the small heart to mat the cardstock. And then you're going to use a large lid. You're going to use your large squash book measurements, which is 6 5/8 by 6 5/8, and just create covers and create a belly band, and you're going to have a really cute album. All right. So thanks for watching. I hope it made sense, and I hope you have a good evening. Thanks, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.